Hey, so Harold, I want to ask you, where does your passion for this ongoing playing come from? I mean, we find it hard to get kids to be passionate all the time, and there's you playing tournaments for years and years, and you still love this game, right?
Well, I sort of wanted to prove a point in many ways. So when I'd come here like 20 years ago, and through a variety of reasons, I realized that to know a lot of the influential people in this country, sports, of course, is always a good way, but tennis, up till recently, has been an elitist sport. And so the people in this country that played well or who admired players were the heads of businessmen and also all the army and the police. And I wanted to make sure I knew everybody, and I wanted to also stamp my imprimatur on tennis. And if I was going to teach some, if I was going to lecture, I wanted to make sure that I had the backup. I was in business many years and didn't play, so no one knew who I was. I broken my shoulder when I was young, and so I stopped playing. But even when I was in business in the States, and when I was 35, the number one guy in the U.S. at 35, I'd still beat. And at Queens Club, I was their Queens Club champion for many years. So I knew that I had to make sure people understood that if I go out there, that's my home, that court, and I can control what goes on. And that's what's led to the passion. But, I see some of your other questions about students and what you look for. I may be racing ahead on you, but, you look for that passion in the student. I mean, I know you know all this, but what I do a lot of times when I get a parent bringing me a child and the kid is okay, let's say he's 12, a lot of times in front of the parents, I will ask that child, do you really love this game? I said, and I said, I don't care if those two people over there, your parents love the game. Do you love the game? And you could see whether the kid will answer right away and how happy he is, or whether he's reticent a little bit in making that answer.
You talk about passion, right? And you talk about various students that you've coached. Are there certain characteristics apart from their love of the game that you're looking for in a player when you want to work with them, and which players are going to be harder for you to work with?
The ability to take direction, the passion for the game, um, the want to be out there to practice. I mean, I knew that if going back so many years with Vitus or anybody, if you see a court that's open, you want to get on it. And if your friend's there, you're going to drag him out there to hit, even if he's not as good as you. And I teach my students that the better you get, the less players you have to play with because you get to be too good. So you've got to learn to use players who are not as good as you. But if you see an open court, you're out there. I mean, you didn't get good, Jason, by luck. You got good by hitting a lot of balls, and that's what it takes.
Hey, Harold, you brought up a cool point there. You said use players that are weaker than you, like find ways to, because you're not always going to be able to find the depth or the caliber that you want around you. So, what are you going to do against players who are weaker than you? Let's look at some practical tips that you could give to some people.
Well, first of all, the guy has no backhand. Don't go to it. Hit every ball to his forehand. All right? And number two, if you're going to serve, you don't have to hit big first serves. You want to play points. Pick a spot and make it so the guy can make the return. The same thing. You have a weakness, work on your weakness. Don't run around your backhand, hit a forehand. Hit that backhand. You want to pass better? Well, hit a lousy drop shot. Let this guy come in and work on your pass.
So I think this is pretty valuable. I mean, this can be for juniors. It can be for adult players who are playing
Sure.
at their local clubs who just can't find enough variety in opponents. Is to be smarter about your own training and go into that match or that practice match with the mindset that, hey, I'm here to practice certain things today, right? I mean,
Or you want to say you want to practice not missing? You have someone start at plus 15 or plus 30. You start at minus 15 or minus 30, and you have got to concentrate. because you can't give away points. You got to win 6 points to his 4. And there are many ways of handicapping matches that you got to concentrate. And then you can try to play to his weaknesses, but you can't miss.
Harold, throughout this whole series, I've been talking to sports site guys, mindset gurus, a whole range of guys. And one of the common themes that's come up is this idea of being able to bridge the gap from the practice court to the match court. And often this is a huge missing link in a lot of juniors and adult players as well. Are you keen on the idea of implementing pressure straight into training, trying to replicate that match environment?
I'm into making that pressure exist. Doesn't have to be all the time, but a lot of times the cure I have for people when they're in the matches is visualization. So when you're serving break point down, rather than thinking you're break point down and you got all these people looking at you, a lot of times it's best to visualize you're playing your friend, and you know that if you serve out wide and you volley to the open court, points go your way. So forget where you are at that moment, but think about visualizing playing practice matches or, playing certain points the way you want to. That may be the best way I found to alleviate some of the pressures.